It's Thursday, June 9th, 2011. Welcome. Strange day. Been a strange day. Actually, last strange 24 hours. Anyway, wanted to talk about transparency. I wanted to tell you about a call I had from Organizing for America. I also wanted to touch again on the issue of wireless communications and privacy. And we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between the UK and the USA. And finally, if I get it all in here, I have a solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. I came up with something interesting yesterday. Now, the one thing we're talking about here, transparency. In the video I did a few days ago about Obama's accomplishments, a couple of them touched on how transparent Obama is. The problem with that is he's transparent when it suits his political agenda. Otherwise, you have to look at what's happened with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. There we go. And of course, Manning. Yes, Obama wants the United States or his government to present itself as being transparent unless it actually matters. Now, the one thing that bothers me so much about the WikiLeaks site, now I've never been in, I've never bothered to go there, I haven't looked material up. I realize that it's what it is. It is a place for people who are top executives of a company or have access to that kind of information to spill the beans on the crap that's going on out there. And we've had a number of articles released through there. And of course, Manning, evidently, I don't know this for a fact, it hasn't been proven yet in the court of law, is supposed to have had dumped communications, private communications, if you want to call them that, from, to, and about what's going on in Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, mind you, all this was going on during the Bush years and not the Obama years. So it's really no skin off Obama's teeth if this makes the United States look bad under the predecessor. As a matter of fact, from a political point of view, it simply bolsters his position as the knight in shining armor that is going to use a progressive agenda to deliver the United States from evil. But that's not what's going on. As we all know, President Barack Obama is no knight in shining armor. He is a law professor, or was a law professor, who has taken it upon himself. Okay, sorry about the pause there. I'm not too sure how to describe Obama anymore. I mean, yeah, the man's president of the United States, and that's all fine and good, but it's almost like everybody else is running the nation very much the same way it was being run under George Bush, which kind of gives you an idea what's really going on in the United States. We put these people into office and it's like their brain comes out their ear. And that's why they don't think and don't listen, because the brain's gone, dribbling out. And since their ears are full, then they're plugged and they can't hear a damn thing. So now this leads us directly into a call I had yesterday from Organizing for America, which is, the Democrats' organization to support Obama's presidency in 2012. I gave him some shocker. Now, mind you, those of you who have been hanging around long enough know damn well that I was supporting Obama, even financially. As a security officer, even financially. Ooh. Back in 2008. So they wanted, as a financial supporter, they wanted me to meet with them and talk to them about, my opinions, if you will, of Obama and how I can continue helping him get reelected. Well, I kind of brought him up short, and I'm like, dude, I let him do a spiel, okay? which I normally do. I'm like, dude, I moved to Chicago. I'm no longer in Tarrant County. He goes, well, we can depend on your support for Obama in 2012, can't we? Well, I kind of fibbed here, guys. I'll admit it, I kind of fibbed here. I said, well, I have reservations about that. And he's like, oh? Well, what's the main issue that's causing you reservations? I'm like, jobs? You know me, jobs, more jobs. And it's rather funny. I seem to have caught the guy flat-footed on that one. He said he would take it into account and pass it on to the people in the Democratic Party, but that was pretty much the end of the conversation, other than, of course, telling me that he was going to get me off the Tarrant County call list. So, the one thing I didn't mention was a whole slew would have brought up the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, TSA, and the almost Gestapo-like atmosphere that we have in the United States today. And we'll get into that in a sec. Now, there's another video that I caught yesterday that is well worth the attention. I will try to annotate it on this one. The Department of Education in Stockton, California, the Department of Education sent in a SWAT team because somebody, and I don't have the details, was backlogged or not paying their student loans. That's a civil matter. That is dealt with in courts. That's not a criminal matter, or it shouldn't be. But now all of a sudden in the United States it is. If you're in debt to the government and you can't pay because they have no economy to speak of, for the most part for us, to earn a decent living, they're going to send not only the police, but a freaking special weapons and tactics team with paramilitary equipment and body armor to drag you out of your house in your boxers and handcuff you on your lawn to humiliate you in front of all of your neighbors. Excuse me, but what the hell is that all about? To me, my thinking right now, that pretty much is the quintessential essence of where the United States is. Now, we were talking about wireless communications the other day. The race mixer out of the UK, and unfortunately I don't have the exact quote up here, but basically it boils down, he was asking whether or not, in my opinion, is the only private communication that we can have in the same room, face to face. I would at best consider that private, and that is the extent of it. Now, there's a reason for that, and I think it's perception, really. I think right now that people in the United Kingdom, people in the UK, are actually freer than people in the United States. Now, I just pointed out one particular incident that happened recently, I think it was yesterday, June 8th. We are, the people, the citizens of the United States, are under occupation. We are under occupation from the multinational corporations. The people that own those corporations are not Americans, and they don't give a good damn about us and our liberties and our freedom. And the United States government is selling us out because the United States government owes so much to so many people. Now, all those people over the years have chided me and said, "You are owned!" Well, yeah, kind of. So, you know, the perspective of what can be considered free communications or private communications, the expectation of privacy, is no longer there because we're an occupied nation. You know, we are occupied by capitalists. You know, it's almost like our own economic system has come full circle to bite us in the butt. So, that's why most of us, well, not most, and I'll get to that in a second. That's why many of us in the United States pretty much don't consider ourselves to be have much privacy left. Extend it out from there. On that note as well, that's what I'm going to get into. I would say the vast majority of people in the United States have no clue what's going on. So, therefore, beyond the scope of understanding there is limited privacy, I don't believe that they understand just how oppressed they are and who's actually pulling the strings on it. Matter of fact, I'm pretty damn sure. I had a conversation with somebody the other day about Obama and how we have to get him out of office because if we don't, there's going to be a civil war because he's such an evil person and he's selling us out to the Muslims. Actually, Obama ain't the problem. He's just a figurehead. The problem is, and this goes back to who we actually own. Not own, or, who owns us? Obama's not the problem. And neither is China, for that matter, because China, bottom line, for the most part, China doesn't give a flying hoot, okay? They're doing their own thing. They're xenophobic, and they want to be this, They'll play if there's money in it for them, but other than that, they're just really not interested. And that's the gist of what I pick up from the Chinese. And again, if I'm wrong, you can correct me. I have no problem with that. But most people aren't really aware of what's going on out there, and that's cool. What has happened is during the Bush years primarily, but it goes back even further. How far back? Probably to Nixon. Many investors around the world have invested heavily in the United States and got burned. They want their money back. They want to be paid back. So now they're putting the squeeze on us through our own military, our own police, our own official agencies, IRS. They're not paying taxes. Their corporations aren't paying taxes. What they owe, our own, is not paying taxes. But they're sure as hell going to bleed the rest of us whites. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means those of us who are aware of what's going on are doing what we can to fight. Videos like this is part of it. The street demonstrations we saw in Dallas, the ones I participated in, the group of kids with SDS, and there's many of them around the area. Oklahoma, North Texas. We got sound like I'm part of it. SDS is a chapter all the way down in Houston as well. And these are all small chapters, but they get what's going on. They really do. But, they're doing what they can. The few are doing what they can for the many, and that's what it boils down to. Now, one more thing before I go. I finally came to a conclusion, a solution, if you will, for the Israeli conflict. We've talked about this in the past, so I'll make this a real quick thumbnail. As you know, Palestine didn't exist prior to World War I. Palestine was part of the Ottoman Turk Empire. And quite frankly, prior to World War I, Saudi Arabia was this minor piece hanging out in the peninsula that wasn't encompassed into the Ottoman Turk Empire, but that's a whole different story. So we know that Palestine didn't exist prior to World War I. Now, the Jews will tell you that there can be no Israel without a Messiah. So since the Messiah hasn't come back, there really can't be an Israel. So what's the solution? Well, here's the solution. The entire region came about because France and Britain sliced up the Ottoman Turk Empire. Technically, this all belongs to Turkey. Why don't we give it back to them? Let's just give it back to them. And this is where the Turks will say, oh my God, don't. We don't want anything to do with it. Okay, I'm out of time. Got to clip this. As always, may your God go with you. And in the next few days, I've got an important announcement for you. So take care. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.